Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. In this video, we're going to be talking about how Joe Biden needs a miracle in order to win re-election in 2024 against Donald Trump. And if the polls are to be true, then basically Joe Biden would actually need a miracle in order to win re-election because he's just so down in the polls as of today. And you take a look at Joe Biden's job approval of the economy. He's underwater in terms of the economy by a net negative 17 points. He's only approved in the economy by 39%, and he's disapproved of by nearly 57 percentage points, making him horrible on the issue of economy. And then not even just the economy. You take a look at other issues like foreign policy. He's underwater by a net negative 22 points. In terms of foreign policy, he's only approved of by 37%, and he has a disapproval rating of nearly 60% in terms of foreign policy. So it only gets worse. It does not get better for Joe Biden. So if you thought his handling of the economy was bad, foreign policy is even worse. You take a look at his handling of immigration. It is actually the worst out of any issue. Joe Biden's worst issue is, in fact, immigration. He's underwater the most by a net negative 33 percentage point. On the issue of immigration, he's only approved of by 31%, and he has a staggering disapproval rating of 64% on the issue of immigration. So, you take a look at all these border states, Arizona, Texas, and New Mexico. Keep an eye on those states in the 2024 election because they can actually have a good chance of actually going in favor of Donald Trump, because the border states are the states that are most affected. And considering that Joe Biden on immigration is just so disapproved of, goes to show you that maybe Donald Trump can win back the Sun Belt or the Sun Belt states of Arizona, or maybe even improve on his margin in a state like Texas in the 2024 election. Joe Biden's job approval rating of the handling of the Israel/Palestine conflict or war, he's disapproved of by a net negative 22%. He's only approved of on this issue by 34%, and he has a disapproval rating of nearly 57 percentage points on the handling of the Israel war. So considering that, if you take a look at some battleground states with a large Muslim population, so as Michigan from the Rust Belt, then Joe Biden might even cost him to lose the state of Michigan in 2024. And the state of Michigan has roughly 240,000 Muslims in that state. So that is actually enough. That is enough to flip the state from blue to red. So also keep an eye on Michigan in 2024 because it can get scary close in favor of Donald Trump. We do have channel memberships. The link to them will be pinned in the comment section down below, or you can find them in the description section, or you can just click the join button on my channel page. Become a member today. We have custom perks and custom emojis. Also, we just hit 1,000 subscribers, meaning we are now officially on the road to 2,000 subscribers. So make sure you are subscribed and turn on post notifications so you get notified every time I upload a video. So here is the 2024 election map. And if the polls were to be correct, or are to be correct as of right now, then indeed Joe Biden does in fact need a miracle in order to win re-election. You take a look at some of these battleground states. Let's start off with North Carolina. In a five-way race between Trump, Biden, Kennedy, West, and Stein in the state of North Carolina, and I will be factoring in all the third-party candidates in this video, so this video is actually very important. Donald Trump is up in the state of North Carolina as of February 20 by 9 percentage points. And you take a look at some of these polls recently from February, very recently, so these are actually new polls. February 15, Trump is up by 3% in North Carolina. February 14, a poll from Fox News may not be that accurate. Donald Trump is up by 9%. And you don't even have to take a look at Fox News. You can take a look at Emerson College, The Hill, even those type of pollsters have Trump up by 9 points in the state of North Carolina. So this is not looking good for Joe Biden. So if the polls were to be right, Joe Biden needs a miracle not only to win the state of North Carolina specifically, but also to win the election. Trump is up by a lean to likely margin in the state of North Carolina. Let's take a look at Georgia in this five-way race between Trump, Kennedy, Biden, Stein, and West. Donald Trump in the state of Georgia, similar to North Carolina, is up as of February 20 very recently by 9 percentage points in this state, according to Emerson College or The Hill, which don't typically favor Republicans that much. But honestly, I'm going to be honest, polls do typically overestimate Donald Trump in Georgia, so would probably round it down to a lean instead of likely margin to be somewhat more accurate. So, Georgia and North Carolina, in my opinion, similar to what the polls are actually suggesting, will vote very similarly, probably in the same direction or one way in 2024. And then you take a look at the Rust Belt state of Pennsylvania as of February 19, pretty recently, yet again, this five-way race between Trump, Biden, Kennedy, uh, Jill Stein, and even Cornel West. Trump is up by 5 percentage points in the state of Pennsylvania. And now keep in mind, this is how bad it is for Joe Biden. This is a state in which Joe Biden won back in 2020 by 1 percentage point. So considering that Trump is up in the state by 5 points, shows you how significant the shift is in the state of Pennsylvania or even nationwide in favor of Donald Trump than where it was 4 years ago. Because 4 years ago, Joe Biden was way more favorable than where he is today. Donald Trump is more favorable than where he was 4 years ago. So according to polls, Joe Biden needs a miracle to win the state of Pennsylvania or basically win the presidency in 2024. So, according to polls, polling data suggests that Trump wins Pennsylvania by a lean margin in 2024. And even states as of New York have it within single digits, or nearly single digits actually, by 10 percentage points in this four-way race between Biden, Trump, Kennedy, and Cornel West. Kennedy actually polls at 13%, so he's not doing that bad. But in a solid Democratic state in which Democrats are expected to win, New York, keep in mind, by around 20 points, Biden is only winning it by 10 points. So considering that, that is actually quite enough to consider New York in the likely column for Joe Biden. And even though it's likely and it should comfortably go to Joe Biden, that's bad because it should be safe instead of likely. Considering that New York is likely for Biden instead of a safe margin, is kind of worrying, and it's scary for Biden. New York, likely for Biden, is not where Democrats want to be. It should be safe, but because it's likely, goes to show you how poorly Biden is doing nationwide. It basically speaks for the nation. New York being likely instead of safe basically speaks nationwide. And as far as the Sunbelt state of Texas goes, Donald Trump is up in this state with this five-way race between Trump, Kennedy, Biden, West, and Stein by nearly 9 percentage points, which is a likely margin, and that is very close to actually double digits, very close. So you can argue it's safe, but I'm going to leave it Texas likely in the likely column for Donald Trump. And as for the other Rust Belt state of Michigan, in this five-way race between all the third-party candidates included Trump, Biden, RFK, Jill Stein, Cornel West, RFK is polling within double digits, so that's very good news for him, even though he's probably not going to win this state. Donald Trump is up in the state of Michigan with the same exact margin he is in Pennsylvania of around 5 percentage points, which is considered a lean margin. So this is obviously not good news for Joe Biden. And similar to what I said, or what I said earlier in this video, is that Michigan has a large Muslim population of around 240,000 Muslims. So considering that and Joe Biden's handling of the Israel war, it's not going to go in favor of him, and it's actually enough to flip the state from blue to red in favor of Donald Trump. As far as Wisconsin goes, Wisconsin is actually the closest Rust Belt state, which is actually surprising to me. In my opinion, Wisconsin would probably be the most red out of the three Rust Belt states. I think probably Pennsylvania or arguably Michigan would probably vote more to the left. But that maybe that's evidence that the polls are probably not accurate. In my opinion, they're probably not accurate because there's no scenario in which I see Wisconsin voting to the left of a state like Michigan or Pennsylvania. It should be the opposite. It should be Wisconsin voting to the right of Michigan or Pennsylvania. But that's not what the polls are suggesting, meaning it might not be that accurate. But for the sake of this video, in this five-way race, with all the third-party candidates included, Trump, Biden, Kennedy, Stein, and Cornel West, Trump in the state of Wisconsin, even though it's closer than Michigan or Pennsylvania, he's still up by a lean margin of 3 percentage points. So this is not looking good for Joe Biden. All the three Rust Belt states are lean for Donald Trump. There's not a day in which I imagined the three Rust Belt states, the most important Rust Belt states that can be the deciding factor of the election, are lean for Donald Trump. I never imagined that scenario. And obviously, this is not the actual outcome. This is what the polls are suggesting. And the polls are suggesting, indeed, that Joe Biden needs a miracle, an electoral miracle, in order to win re-election in 2024. And Donald Trump in the state of Arizona is polling within 4 percentage points. So that is considered a lean margin. Considering where I went earlier in the video with all the border crisis, Joe Biden's approval rating is a net negative 33%. And Joe Biden's worst issue, he's doing the most poorly right now, is indeed, in fact, the border crisis. So considering that Arizona is a border state, they get most impacted on this, meaning they probably have a poor a rating on Joe Biden, considering that Arizona is probably flippable for Donald Trump in 2024. And that's what the polls reflect. The polls show that Joe Biden needs almost an electoral miracle in order to win re-election in 2024. And as far as Virginia polling goes, Joe Biden only wins this state by 3%, according to the polling data that we are receiving as of February from all these pollsters, which is considered a lean margin, and that's scary for Joe Biden. He's supposed to win Virginia by a comfortable margin of probably likely margin, which he won it by double digits in 2020. So considering that it's within 3%, even though he just won it by 10% in 2020, and now it's all of a sudden within 3%, is actually scary. And that's not where Joe Biden wants to poll. That's not where he wants to poll. And then as far as New Hampshire goes, Joe Biden is still up in the state of New Hampshire, but it is relatively close, but he still wins it according to polls by a likely margin, actually, of 7 percentage points. So that is actually, New Hampshire is one of these states, one of the few states that actually is good news for Joe Biden, in which Joe Biden is winning New Hampshire according to polling data as of February by a likely margin of 7 percentage points. Probably the few good news you're going to hear within these states, that New Hampshire is probably one of the few states that actually favors Joe Biden. And then Colorado is polling within 7 or 8 percentage points for Joe Biden, which I would say is pretty good. I expect him to win it by 8 percentage points, around there, which is likely margin. It shouldn't get close for Donald Trump. Trump should not get close to winning Colorado, because you have these Californians moving to a state like Colorado, trending the state more blue than it already is. So considering that, I think Joe Biden should comfortably win a state like Colorado. And as far as New Mexico goes, Joe Biden is up by 7%, which is also a likely margin according to the polls. So it's not going to get too close in those states of Colorado and New Mexico. And as well as Iowa or Ohio, Trump is actually polling within double digits of around 10, 11 points, which is enough to consider them safe, which is why I have both Iowa and Ohio safe according to the polls, and that's what the polls are suggesting. And then as well as Nevada goes, Donald Trump is actually favored in this state by nearly 6 percentage points. And one thing I do have to point out in the state of Nevada is that pollsters in Nevada specifically usually tend to overestimate Republican chances and underestimate Democrats in the state of Nevada. 2022 midterms was a great example of that. You take a look at Adam Laxalt. He was expected to do way better, and guess what? He didn't. He lost to Catherine Cortez Masto. So considering that fact, I think the polls in Nevada probably might not be accurate, and Republicans are overhyped in Nevada, I'm going to be honest, and they should probably be humble, because Joe Biden can very well win the state in 2024. But for the sake of this video, according to polls, they suggest that Donald Trump is favored to win Nevada by a lean margin in 2024. And now the last and final state to cover in this video is the state of Minnesota. And now this state is probably one of the closer states, in which Joe Biden is only up in the state by around 2 to 3 percentage points, which is similar to the margin Hillary Clinton won it in 2016. And Joe Biden in 2020 was more approved of. He was more favored than where he is today in 2024. He was seen as more of a moderate candidate, which is why he won. Which is why he got that many votes as he did, 81 million votes. Now in 2024, he is no longer seen as once as that moderate candidate. He is more disapproved of than he ever is, and basically, in this point in Joe Biden's presidency, in this point in time, Donald Trump had a higher approval rating than Joe Biden. Donald Trump was approved of by around 45 percentage points, and at this point in time, Joe Biden is only approved of by 39 to 40 percentage points. So meaning, at this point in time, between Trump and Biden's presidency, in this exact time, Donald Trump is more approved of than Joe Biden by nearly 6 percentage points. So Donald Trump obviously had a higher approval rating than Joe Biden. And you can make the case, you can argue, and you can say that approval ratings don't matter to Democrats as much as they do to Republicans. Well, okay, that may be true, but you never seen a Democrat this underwater, this hated ever in this point in time in their presidency. Joe Biden can arguably go down as one of the most disapproved of presidents in U.S. history. So there you guys go. What the polling data suggests as of February is that Joe Biden needs a miracle, an electoral miracle, in order to win re-election in 2024. And if you reflect the map on what the polls are suggesting, the poll suggests that Donald Trump wins the election with 312 electoral votes, which is more than what he won in 2016 to Joe Biden's 226 electoral votes. So this is exactly the electoral map based off of what the polls are suggesting. And what does this map reflect? Which is what the polls are saying, is that this map exactly reflects that Joe Biden needs an electoral a miracle even in 2024. So let me know what your thoughts on all the polls and basically what your thoughts on the map. And do you agree with what the polls are suggesting, that basically Joe Biden needs a miracle in order to win re-election, or do you think Joe Biden can very well win re-election in 2024? And one last final reminder before I end out this video is we do have channel memberships. The link to them will be pinned in the comment section down below. You can find them in the description section, or you can just click the join button, which you're seeing on the screen right now on my channel page. We have custom perks and custom emojis. Become a member today. And also, another reminder, we just hit 1,000 subscribers. We are now on the road to 2,000 subscribers, so make sure you are subscribed and turn on post notifications so you get notified, and hit that bell whenever I upload a video instead of actually missing whenever I upload